So this week I had watched a video with Josh Metal on the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel. And he gave one, I highly recommend you go back and you watch the video, but he gave some really good data of basically 3 pieces of evidence that would lead to the fact that we are either in a recession or that a recession is coming. And then the framing that he put around that conversation is, why does this matter to you, Mr. or Miss Customer? And then why does this matter to you, Mr. or Miss Agent, for your real estate partner? So looking at our August content calendar, we are on August 16th. Tomorrow's the big day, August 17th, with the NAR settlement. I know there's a lot of states that have already started the buyer representation agreement, but I wanted to show you all. In fact, I'll share my screen real quick. Based on our content calendar, you'll see that for Monday, our news hacking video is the one that's 3 reasons that we believe interest rates are going to be falling. And you can choose to angle this either for your agent partners or for your clients. But this video that you record is going to be one that you probably want to also send out in your value bomb email, which is always done on Fridays. So just a reminder, this is your prompt for Saturday. My go-to comfort food is, this is just a quick video that helps your audience get to know you a little bit. And then your Sunday post that is more personal development. Again, it gives a little bit more of an insight to who you are. Other than a mortgage professional is, I am most confident in blank because of blank. So then we have the Monday news hacking video. This Tuesday is our partner brand promise number 2. So remember, this alternates between all of our kind of quote, it's your top 3 promises that you give to clients or that you give to partners, and we just alternate them. So client, partner, also happens to be Lemonade Day. Wednesday is the client educational event. Hopefully you have set up your webinars and you're pushing your last minute reminders to get people to RSVP for this. Our Thursday storytelling day this week. This is the evidence of how you provide annual financial reviews. So it's really important that we have at least one story that we tell a month that is evidence of a client situation that we were able to either help them build wealth or make a more informed decision based off current debts. Because guys, I can't remember the stat off the top of my head, but the stat on Americans in debt is crazy. Friday is financial literacy. So this one's about generational wealth and financial freedom. And then you have next weekend's Saturday and Sunday, which is my least favorite weekend chore is, and your ideal Sunday would look like. So in the spirit of what we discussed the last couple of weeks with how do you use Instagram Reels, that's what I'm going to start with today. And how do we use the evidence that Josh shared in that YouTube video, those different graphs of how we know based off data that a recession is here or it's coming, and it's not just lip service. It's not just another talking head video. So I'm going to record my screen so that you guys can follow along. And the first thing that I would do, guys, and let me just share my screen and I'll show you. So the first thing that you'll want to do is when you go to Instagram, and you're going to hit at the very bottom in the middle. So just like we did the last couple of weeks, you're going to hit the plus sign and you're going to go to Reel. Now I've already screenshotted, is that correct? I took all of his graphs. So this was one, the SOM rule. And just to give you a little bit of background, he talked about how when the 3-month moving average of the unemployment rate, when it rises above 0.5% from the cyclical low, that means we're either in a recession or we're about to enter a recession. And this has happened since 1950, 100% of the time. We're either in, or in 6 months from now, we will be in a recession. So that's evidence number 1, just to give you some framing, is this. And again, this was posted on August 2nd. So you can see I included that in this image. The second one that he talked about was anytime that we see the 10-year and the 2-year Treasury bond, whenever it's an inverted yield curve, then that's typically signs, again, more evidence of a recession. And you can see in the gray, it's hard to tell, but every single time where it's inverted, you can see the light gray, we hit a recession. So if you're wondering, like, how would you explain that in the video, which we're going to do this together and I'll show you how you can then throw it up. But essentially when the 2-year yield is paying investors, so when the ROI is more, usually the investors get more of an ROI the longer that they have the loan. So usually when the 10-year is higher. So when it's flip-flopped, AKA inverted, this chart is just evidence. Again, don't take my word for it. This is the evidence that we typically hit a recession. And then the last piece of evidence was when the Fed is aggressively increasing the Fed funds rate. You can see with the dark gray bars, disclaimer, let's not worry about the housing, the Great Recession. That was a whole different set of reasons of why we hit those points. And hopefully you guys all know how to explain that part. But essentially the 3 pieces of evidence that I want you to get really clear on to be able to articulate in this quick video, and I'm going to show you how you can use these graphs in the video, is number 1, the SOM rule, the inverted yield curve, and the Fed funds rate increasing. Now, what does this mean to housing? Because a lot of people think, oh no, a recession, like interest rates, housing is going to crash because of the last recession we were in, right? Here's what data says. Historically, recessions equal lower interest rates. And you could go through each of these years to prove. I would tell them to watch a longer video on your YouTube channel. This is just like dangling the carrot a little bit. It's to create enough curiosity where they either DM you or message you to want to learn more. So what does this mean for interest rates? It's what everybody's going to want to know with the recession. Here's what the data says. And then what does this mean for housing? Most people think, oh, our values are going to crash. No, they don't. Actually, it's pretty good for housing. And then this is, it looks blurry here. I think it's because I tried to edit it on my phone. But this just shows since 1942, home prices have consistently gone up 90% of the time. In fact, 74 times they went up, only 7 times did they go down, and 1 time they were neutral, no change. So let's talk about how you do this on Instagram. I'm going to exit. I'm going to go back to where we started. So you can either click the plus sign in the top right or at the very bottom. So I'm just going to do the bottom, and I'm going to tap reel so you can see where it says reel at the little slider here. And I'm going to do camera. And this is where you would go and you would start talking. You would record your video, upload it here, and then we'll add in the graphs later. But I went ahead and recorded Josh. I'm not going to actually post this, but let's say like you would hit the belly button guy and you would start with, hey guys, here are my top 3 reasons of why I think we are going to see a wave of home buyers coming to the market. And guys, don't just take my word for it. I'm going to show you the data in this reel right now. Stop. And then I would hit start again. This is when I would talk about the SOM rule, blah, 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 blah. Stop. Maybe I turn a little bit this way. Now I'm going to talk about the yield curve, the inverted yield curve, blah, 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 blah. I'm just doing this enough. Maybe I can do that. And that's where I'm going to end up posting the graph. Stop. And then one more time. The third piece of evidence was the Fed funds rate increasing anytime they are aggressively tightening, blah, 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 blah. Have your chart or graph here, stop. And then we're going to do our conclusion or put a bow on the reels. So if you are worried about what does this mean when it comes to real estate or even interest rates when we enter a recession, then send me a DM. Let's set up a meeting. I'd be happy to help because truth be known, interest rates usually come down and prices come up. So let's get a strategy together so you have a plan. That was just me literally doing it off the cuff. So once you've recorded, I'm going to hit next. So do y'all see in the top right-hand corner on my phone, there's a little picture icon. So this is where I would tap, and I'm going to go to my first chart. This is how easy it is, guys, to include charts. So I could choose to make it this big where it covers me for a little bit. This is why kind of holding the phone and making sure you're like, I really should have scooped back some, but see how I'm pointing here? So I would do this. Here's the data. And now watch. I don't want that to stay the entire video. I'm going to hit edit video at the bottom. And do you see the purple bar? Tap the purple bar and it should highlight in yellow. What I'm looking for is the big bold end cap on this timeline. And I could listen to this and I would do that if I wasn't trying to do this as a coaching demo, but I would be listening to make sure, where do I want to make, let's see, let's just say it's there. I could move this around. I could have it start here Basically, as soon as I go and I mention the chart for the data, that's where you want it to start. Now, I can take my fingers like you guys saw and I can make it bigger or smaller. I can move it all around if I want to, but that's only my first data, right? So now I got to do the second chart. So I'm going to hit the picture icon again at the top right. And now I'm going to do the inverted yield curve. Now, it's not going to actually post like this, but let's say I'm going to put it here and I'm going to hit edit video. So the second chart is now at the very bottom. And I know this one comes after. Again, ideally you would have this playing so you know exactly when to line it up. And let's say it's here. I'm assuming it takes a little bit longer to explain what's going on. All right. And now we have one more, right? So I'm going to hit the blue arrow that is to the right. Oh, I accidentally hit the wrong thing. So I'm going to hit the back arrow. This is actually good. I should show you this. Hit the back arrow, tap on the actual screen where that it enlarges. And then I'm going to go back to hitting my picture icon. Y'all with me? I'm going to tap this and I'm going to go to my last picture, which was the Fed fund. I'm going to choose to move it up here. I really should have not put myself so big in the middle of the frame. Quiz. Where do you go? Change the duration of how long the photo should stay on the screen. We're going to hit edit video. Again, it's going to be the last sticker. So you have to tap. It has to highlight in yellow for you to be able to change the duration. I'm going to click and drag. And anytime, guys, on Mondays, our housing and kind of news hacking pieces of content, it's very educational content. We want to be more than just talking heads. We want to give our lens, our perspective based off the data. And Josh's video was a great one that you could learn from and then create content out of it. So y'all just have to tell him thank you for this if you guys see him, or you can send this to him if you want. So now I would listen to it to make sure that it's in sync in the way that I want it. Now, the only thing that I'm missing is the hook, the most important part, right? Again, if I wanted to just pre-watch, you guys get what I'm trying to say. All right, I'm going to hit text, and this is going to be the hook. 3 reasons why rates are about to drop. And again, I could pretty this up. I could change the font. I could change the color. You could hit the little eyedropper and maybe you want to match. I'm just going to do this. You would never want to do it like this. This is for demonstration. Now, I don't want it to last the entire time across my head, as well as when I know that the graphs are going to be shown in the video. So you're going to tap at see at the bottom where it says 3 reasons. You can either click edit video or just tap on the title at the very bottom. And again, I can change the duration here. So I can take this. I only want this to be my hook. This is like the lazy way of doing edits. My editing team is probably gonna be like, wow, this is bad. I could put it all together. And this is the most important part. Before you go and post, click edit cover. You can always go back and fix this after it's been posted, where you can click edit reel and see where it says add from camera roll. You could, in theory, add and get a cover page that would fit appropriately in the profile grid, but what you won't be able to see is at the very top right below where it says done and it says profile grid. This is the only time when you can get a preview of how it's going to line up. So is this my hook? No. So I'm going to go back to cover and I'm going to go all the way to the left. So see how I can move. This is where I could choose. You could have made this if I had the graph in the right spot. That could have been the cover page. That would be enticing potentially for someone to want to click. But I want it to go all the way to the left because that's where I have the words. I'm going to hit profile grid. Sometimes it does this and it just takes a little bit. So if I hit done, it could be also because I'm on Zoom with you guys. There we go. See how it's cut off at the top a little bit? You'd want to drag it down just a little bit. Hit done. This is where you add your caption. You never need more than 5 or 7 hashtags. Don't go crazy on the hashtags. You can hit tag. Remember, when you invite collaborator, it shares on both of y'all's main home feed. So you want to do that when it's appropriate. Don't abuse it though. It does send that person a DM and it says, hey, Deborah has invited you to collaborate on this post. Do you accept? They have to hit accept for it to go on both of y'all's feed. Otherwise, if you hit add tag, it's just a normal tag. So topics, you can only pick up to 3. There's not really a whole lot of great topics categories, you'll be able to see once they pull up. The one for like real estate or homes is at the bottom. So you can, if it fits, maybe home and garden hacks, but that's not really appropriate. All this does is it's more signals that tells the algorithm what your video is about and who would be most interested in watching. So sometimes for me personally, I do entrepreneurship. Sometimes I do small businesses, financial markets. It doesn't always work great with mortgage. Always, always, always add location, and then always make sure that you have shared to Facebook as well. Pretty simple, right? So if I were to start over, and I'll do this real quick, yikes. Let's say you recorded your video, your talking head video, and you just want to upload it as a reel and then put in the charts instead of recording the video actually from Instagram, like using the Instagram Reels timer. You would just scroll up and let's see, I did record Josh. Excuse my photos at the moment. Here we go. See, this is him explaining it. I would hit next and it's the same steps, guys. So I would click the picture icon. I'd go to the first one. I could have 1, 2. I have to be, see how when I drag it, you can see where the safe zones are. You want to make sure you are in the safe zone. If you wanted all of them to be up at the same time, I'm just showing you different options. Again, I'm taking my 2 fingers. You do have to use both your fingers. Yeah, that's not really great, but I'm just going to put it here. And I'm going to tap on the first graph on the bottom left. I'm going to change the duration. Always a good idea to add trending audio. You would want to line this up to where it makes sense as you're telling the story around the data. Always make sure you have a hook. I'm going to click the right. If you thought, oh man, I wanted to add audio, I forgot to add my trending audio, you would just go back, go to add audio at the very bottom. Arrow, see under big dogs, there's a little diagonal line. That means that is trending audio. That's how you know it's trending. I like to be between like 10 to 25,000 uses. So see where it says Reels, 846,000, that's a lot. Sometimes it's hard to find, like this one's not bad. It's 20,000, but you have to make sure that it's appropriate. In fact, let me see if this will play. You just want to make sure there's not really like any curse words, and you always want to make sure it's also not overpowering your talking in the video. So I'm going to show you how you can fix that. So let's say you've previewed the audio and you're like, that works. I'm going to tap on the song choice. I can click done if I'm done. If you're worried about the volume or you're really just using it because it's trending and you want to grow your reach, and if it's trending audio, that means that the algorithm is pushing that audio because people are interacting with it. All I would do is go to volume at the bottom and just turn it way down. Like sometimes I just do a 1. That way it's not competing with the talking head video. And then I would hit done. So the only thing I didn't put on here was the hook at the beginning. So remember, you could either add a photo by going to edit cover. Once it catches up a little bit, you'll see the blue box around the timeline just popped up. So I could change wherever I want this. And go to profile grid to make sure it lines up. And if you wanted to add captions, you could go to sticker. I did that kind of fast. I apologize. At the very bottom, see where it says sticker, tap sticker, and then you would go to captions. And my audio is not working, so it's not going to show the captions. And that's it, guys. This is also where you can do a voiceover. If instead you just wanted to have like B-roll in the background and you're just telling the story, this is where you would do the voiceover. I don't want to do that. And that's it. Pretty simple, right? So that is how you can use evidence in your Reels, where this time you don't have to change the view from your front and back lens back and forth like we did the last couple of weeks. This would be just uploading the charts, assuming you've screenshotted them and they're in your camera roll, so that you can add some meat to your Reels. So you're not just talking. There's actually truth, and you have a educated opinion. Expert opinion doesn't mean perfect, but expert opinion around data. Let me know if this was helpful, and if you guys get stuck or have any questions, let me know. I ain't hard to find. Just email marketing@plugandplaysm.com, and I will see you next week.